In Outlander Season 8, Episode 4, Abyss Frasery, Jamie eventually finds out what Captain Charles Cunningham is doing, and he's not happy about it. This episode opens with Brianna and Fanny shopping at the trading post. At first, the two had a great bonding moment, but things change when two gentlemen approach Fanny with blatantly dishonorable purpose. When the guys eventually leave, Fanny tells Brianna that they were cops. She was able to recognize such type of behavior after years of observing patrons in the brothel where she was raised. These men were at the trading post to visit Captain Cunningham, which is the Outlander Season 8 episode's first significant red flag. Naturally, more on that later. There is much more. First, Jamie's feelings of envy are rekindled by a letter from Lord John Grey. John wants Brianna to go to Savannah so she can paint a portrait of Ben Grey's wife Amarandis and her kids. Jamie forbids Brianna and Claire from speaking to Lord John out of instant annoyance. Clearly, this doesn't work out. There are several further incidents that follow Jamie and Claire's final significant debate regarding the Lord John Grey situation in Outlander Season 7, Part 2. William keeps investigating the death of his cousin Ben, and although he doesn't find the answers he seeks, the investigation lets him come to know Ben's widow. An additional look at Lord John's strained relationship with Percy Beauchamp, who, in this Outlander episode, asked his ex-partner for a favor involving Fergus Fraser. A significant event occurs when Claire suddenly revives a stillborn child, in Outlander Season 8, Episode 3. The expected fight between Jamie and Captain Charles Cunningham follows all of this. Although this man is impossible to detest, Jamie has found it hard to trust him. It turns out that Cunningham's retirement from His Majesty's army was justified, as this Outlander episode reveals. After hearing gunshots while he and Fanny are in the woods, Jamie finds out that Benjamin Cleveland shot and killed the two men who had come to visit Cunningham at the trading station. Mr. Cleveland joyfully admits that the men had been transporting guns onto Fraser's Ridge. After searching the remains and returning with a message to Captain Cunningham, Jamie prevents the neighboring landowner from hanging and burying the corpses. Jamie confronts Cunningham, pointing out that while the letter seems unremarkable at first, key terms imply something completely different. Jamie explores the trade post for a little while, before discovering a key that reveals a fresh message. When it is placed over Now that the information is public, Cunningham feels compelled to give Jamie the truth. He is still serving in the British Army, and is constructing a loyalist militia on Fraser's Ridge. Jamie is obviously incensed. However, Cunningham claims that he wants Jamie to back him. Cunningham believes Jamie's political views aren't all that far from his own after they spend some time together. He urges him to help the monarch proclaim victory in order to cease the fighting and bloodshed. As Outlander Season 8, Episode 4, comes to a close, Jamie is left to consider the offer. Even though the main focus of Outlander Season 8, Episode 3, was the significant Cunningham discovery, Claire's massive miracle was the show's climax. Earlier in the episode, Susanna, a laboring woman in great need of help, shows up at the Fraser home. After examining the woman, Claire discovers that she is expecting twins. The two babies become tangled with one another, stopping Susanna's labor. Claire can, of course, fix this with a little shrewdness and common sense. The first baby is eventually born without any issues. However, the issues begin with the birth of the second child. Claire tries her hardest to rouse the infant, who appears to be stillborn, but she knows there's no hope, as does Jamie. He sees Claire's need with sorrow and realizes that she has been taken back to that period of time, in France all those years ago, when she was clutching Faith's body. This is also seen from Claire's perspective. She tears over the baby, sees pictures of Faith in blue wings, and hears Master Raymond's voice. Jamie eventually learns what Captain Charles Cunningham is up to in Outlander Season 8, Episode 3, Abyss Frasery, and he's not pleased about it. Brianna and Fanny are shopping at the trading post as this episode begins. The two have a wonderful bonding moment at first, but when two guys approach Fanny with obviously dishonorable intentions, the atmosphere changes. Fanny informs Brianna that the men were officers when they eventually go. After years of watching customers in the brothel where she grew up, she was able to identify that kind of conduct. This is the first major warning sign of the Outlander Season 8 episode, as these men were at the trading station to see Captain Cunningham. More about that later, of course. Before Jamie learns the truth about Cunningham, a lot more takes place. First of all, a letter from Lord John Grey reopens Jamie's jealousy wounds. John wants Brianna to travel to Savannah in order to paint a portrait of Amarandis, the widow of Ben Grey, and her children. Immediately annoyed, Jamie prohibits Brianna and Claire from interacting with Lord John. This obviously doesn't work out. In Outlander Season 7, Part 2. Jamie and Claire's last major argument about the Lord John Grey predicament is accompanied by a number of other incidents. William continues to look into his cousin Ben's death, and although he doesn't get the answers he's looking for, the process helps him get to know Ben's widow. Another glimpse of Lord John's tense relationship with Percy Beauchamp, who requests a favor involving Fergus Fraser from his former partner, was provided in this Outlander episode. In Outlander Season 8, Episode 3, Claire mysteriously brings a stillborn baby back to life, which is a major event. All of this is followed by Jamie and Captain Charles Cunningham's inevitable altercation. Jamie has found it difficult to trust this man, despite the fact that he is hard to dislike. This Outlander episode explains that Cunningham hasn't acted. The show begins silently, a moment of peace before a storm. Claire and Jamie are standing together, but something seems off. Now there is more strain. War is here, not on the horizon. The aftermath of conflict, burned homes, shattered ties, and widespread fear, is depicted as the camera gradually moves back. This episode delves deeply into the price of allegiance. Every choice Jamie makes could be the difference between life and death. His leadership is put to the test like never before, and the burden of keeping his family safe starts to show. Claire, on the other hand, must fight her own battle to preserve lives in a collapsing society. But this time, her expertise might not be sufficient. And then the moment arrives that transforms everything. A treachery, surprised, hurtful. It also goes deeper than anyone anticipated. The kind of betrayal that impacts everyone, not just one individual. Relationships start to break down as feelings rise. Trust starts to erode. And their greatest asset, love, becomes their greatest weakness. The episode's last act is quite intense. There is a moment at the start of this episode where everything seems motionless. Still too much. The globe seems to be holding its breath, waiting for a catastrophic event. And in that quiet, we discover Jamie and Claire, standing next to each other, but not in harmony. Because this time, love is insufficient to keep them safe. Pause. Music gradually picks up. Episode 4 doesn't make you feel at peace. You are not warned. It immediately plunges you into the aftermath of mayhem. Destroyed homes. Families split up in a country that no longer seems secure. This is no longer only a war. That's survival. Jamie Fraser has always been a powerful man, a boss, a defender. However, this episode, we perceive a different thing. We notice the weight. Now, every choice he takes has repercussions, not only for him but for everyone who has faith in him. In contrast, Claire is engaged in a different type of conflict, not using weapons but eventually, a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms stops inquiring about what honor is in Episode 4 and begins to wonder if the expense is worthwhile. Dunk has so far operated under the straightforward tenet that stating the truth, standing tall, and doing the right thing will all be sufficient. However, Westeros responds to him in Episode 4 with silence, followed by repercussions. It's not a noisy episode. There are no marching armies. There are no dragons yelling in the sky.